Hello YouTube, today I have a different video for you guys today. In today's video I'm going to be going through a portion of my collection, and the part of my collection we're going to be going through today, if you've read the title, which you probably have, is my PlayStation 2 collection now. My PlayStation 2 collection is my favorite because the PlayStation 2 is my favorite home console, and it's just, there's so many great games on there. I love playing my PS2. And this is in no particular order. I've got 5 stacks of games here, and yeah, let's just get right into it. And so, first game is Ratchet and Clank. This is like a action platformer game. It's really cool. It's like a 3D action platformer. I love the Ratchet and Clank games. Really recommend checking them out if you can. So, pretty popular game actually. Next one is Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. This one came with a demo of Final Fantasy XII, which is really cool. And, you know, this is a very traditional JRPG. I love JRPGs, and I'm really getting into the anime-style ones, so this is actually a really cool game to check out. I'm going to put that in a separate stack because of the box. Next one, Shadow of the Colossus. This is a pretty popular game on the PS2. It's a really must-own for any PlayStation 2 owner. It's just a really great game. Graphics are amazing on the PS2. It's just a really good game. You can also pick it up on the PS3, but it's an HD remake, and I don't know, I just prefer it on the original hardware. Next one, Demon Stone. This is a really fun action RPG by Atari. This is very similar to the Lord of the Rings games, if you've played those. I love the Lord of the Rings games on the PS2. Really recommend checking this out if you're into those kind of games, and it has a really good story. Alright, I'm going to try to get through these a little bit faster, because I got a lot to go. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Battle Nexus. This is a top-down beat-em-up game. It's really cool. This one shouldn't really need much explaining. Final Fantasy X. I have another copy of this. It's not in greatest hits version, but I don't have the case for it, so I got this for the case a while back. Killzone. Killzone. Pretty popular exclusive shooter on PlayStation. Jak 3. This is another like 3D platformer. It's got more of a story than like a normal action platformer. It's kind of got puzzle sections. It's a really awesome game. I recommend checking out the Jak games. Next one is Tales of the Abyss. This is a great anime RPG. It's got awesome anime sections. It's got a really good story and good voice acting. Recommend checking out the Tales of the Abyss game. Next one, MotorStorm Arctic Edge. Yeah, this game is basically MotorStorm for PS2. So it takes out all the graphical impressiveness of the PS3 version, but it's MotorStorm. It's pretty fun. Recommend checking that out if you're into racers. Next one is Orphan Scion of Sorcery by Activision. This is actually one of the launch games for PS2, and it's a 3D action RPG. With a lot of cool anime sections, which is really nice. I haven't actually beat this yet, but definitely worth checking out if you're into RPGs. Next one, we have another RPG, and if you see sticker residue on these, then it's because I can't get it off, and I really try hard to get sticker residue off. Tsugunai Atonement. This is a Atlas RPG. It's okay. The soundtrack's pretty cool though, but the graphics aren't very impressive. Haven't played too much of it, but I'll get around to that eventually. Next one is a pretty popular game. It's got God of War, action brawler game. Next one, Tekken Tag Tournament. I love the Tekken games. This is the original Tag Tournament, which is basically Tekken 3 characters, and you play in a tag form, which is pretty cool. Next game is a really fun game. The Spider-Man game by Activision. Really fun free roam Spider-Man game. Recommend checking this one out if you can. This one's kind of weird. I'm not a huge fan of this one, but Starsky and Hutch. This is basically you play through a mini TV series as Starsky and Hutch. It's really weird. Could never figure out how to get the two-player working on that. Next one, Final Fantasy X-2. Not the best Final Fantasy. It's pretty bad for a Final Fantasy game, but it's not a terrible RPG overall. But it's a pretty bad Final Fantasy game. Next one is Tekken 5. Love Tekken games, as you already heard. So, yeah, Tekken. Love Tekken. Next game is Oni. This is a anime action RPG by Rockstar, which is pretty cool. So, this one's pretty interesting. Worth checking out. Next one's a pretty popular classic game. Is my girlfriend's hair is on my hand. Anyways, Unreal Tournament. This is a first-person shooter, really cool, unique shooter game. Recommend checking that one out. This one's really fun. I always love playing this game. Destroy All Humans. This is a free roam alien game. You play as an alien trying to destroy mankind. It's really interesting and unique. Next one is an okay game. Godai Elemental Force. It's mediocre at best, but it's a action RPG, so it's a pretty interesting game. Next one is a action RPG. Well, just basically action third-person shooter. Where you play as Jango Fett. Really cool. Star Wars Bounty Hunter. I forgot to say the title. Next game, The Simpsons Hit and Run. This is a free roam Simpsons game, basically like a Grand Theft Auto clone, but less violence. Really cool, really fun. Next game, Gran Turismo 3 as Spec. Gran Turismo 3, basically, this is a really graphically impressive game for the time, and it still holds up really well graphic-wise. It's pretty impressive racer. Next game, Jak 2. Same deal as Jak 3, but it's the second one in the series. Really recommend checking out those games. Next game, Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament. Really bad fighter. Really slow paced. It's got a cool artwork though. It's kind of got like a foil cover. But really bad, slow-paced fighting game. Next one is Persona 3. This is the original release. So if you get Persona 3, get FES because it has a bunch of extra content and stuff. But Persona 3, really fun RPG by Atlas. Recommend checking that one out. Alright, next game. FIFA Soccer 2004. I don't really need to explain that. But yeah, I used to. Probably the only soccer game. I think it's the only soccer game I have, except I have one on PS1. FIFA Street 2. Probably my favorite soccer game of all time. I don't really have a lot of sports games, so. Anyways, going forward, Final Fantasy 12 Collector's Edition. Really fun RPG. This is the first one that was single player to get rid of the traditional style JRPG in the Final Fantasy series. Next one's one of my personal favorites. Genji Dawn of the Samurai. It's a 3D action RPG. Oh my gosh, this is an extremely fun game. Recommend that. Next one is probably my favorite shooter on the PlayStation 2 is Ghost Recon Jungle Storm. I play this for hours with my friends. Great shooter. Really fun co-op modes in that game. Next one is another RPG, Blood Omen 2. This is the second game in the Blood Omen series, and it's like the third game in the Legacy of Kain series, so really cool game. Recommend checking that out. Next one is a classic, Burnout 1. Yeah, these EB game stickers, they're such a pain to get off. They leave all sorts of residue, and I just give up trying to get these EB game ones. I'm so glad they're gone. They used to put stickers all over everything. But yeah, Burnout 1. And then I got Burnout Revenge. Oh man, this is probably the best Burnout on the PlayStation 2 in my personal opinion. Recommend this highly if you can find it, which should be pretty easy. Next one is my favorite skateboarding game, X Games Skateboarding. Probably this is my favorite skateboarding game. It's similar to the Tony Hawk games, except it's more realistic, like less arcade based, but it still has an arcade mode and everything, which is really cool, but a little bit more realistic than the Tony Hawk games. Next one, The Mark of Kree. This is another action RPG, and it's not really that great in my personal opinion. I'm not a big fan of it. The voice acting is not the best, so there's a sequel to it. I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not. Probably will eventually. Next, Ape Escape 2. Oh, I love this game. This is a great game. Really fun, just like really laid back game. It's hard to explain the Ape Escape games. You just have to play them. They're really fun though. Next one is another RPG. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. Second game in the Dark Alliance series. Highly recommend the Dark Alliance games for D&D fans or something, because they're extremely well done. Dark Alliance 2 is not as good as the original, so in my opinion. Next game, Phantasy Star Universe. Another 3D RPG. Really, really fun. This allows you to play all the online stuff offline, which is really cool. So you can still play these. Really fun game. Next game, Kill Switch. This is a third-person shooter made by Namco. It's a pretty generic third-person shooter, but it's pretty graphically impressive. It's okay. And we got 2 more stacks here, so don't worry. We're getting closer to the end. Move these stacks closer. All right. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six 3. Probably my second favorite shooter on the PS2 so far. It's just really well done. It's really fun co-op. This is a great co-op shooter. Most of the Tom Clancy games are pretty good co-op. Next one, Savage Skies. This is a pretty underrated gem. It's you fly dragons and stuff. It's really sweet. Recommend checking that out for like people who like flying games, or maybe Panzer or Dragoons Saga games. Next one, Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. First Jak and Daxter game. Pretty awesome game. Still recommend checking these out if you can. This one's a really interesting soccer game. Sega Soccer Slam. It mixes wrestling and soccer, which is pretty interesting. Really fun playing with your friends. Really, really interesting soccer game. Next one, Maximo Ghosts to Glory. This is in the Ghosts and Goblins series. Really, really hard. Pretty fun, but really, really hard. Next game, Star Ocean Till the End of Time. 3D anime RPG. Extremely fun. This is a really, really awesome RPG. If you're a big RPG fan, recommend checking that out if you can. I'm going to have to upload this to my computer first, which is something I don't really like to do, but I have too many games here. Next game is Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. I love the Budokai games, although this is the only one I have, but I've played a bunch of them, and excellent game. Probably my favorite fighting game for the Dragon Ball Z series of all time. Next one's a really fun game, is The Matrix Path of Neo. It's really good for Matrix fans. You get to play basically through Neo's story, which is sweet. And the graphics in this game are extremely impressive, I think, for the PS2. And so if you're a big graphics fanatic on the PS2, which is kind of ironic, but definitely check that one out if you're a Matrix fan or something. Next one, Goblin Commander Unleash the Horde, another one of these crazy EB games. I'm kind of glad that they switched to GameStop, less stickers, but this is a RTS, which is, there's not many RTS that I know of on the PS2, and this one's okay. Not the best RTS I've played on the PS2, but this is an okay one. Next one is one of the reasons why I got a PS2. Hypersonic Extreme. This is basically F-Zero for your PS2. It's pretty much a direct ripoff of F-Zero, except you can make your own tracks, which is really cool. So, really fun game. Had a lot of fun with that. Next one is actually a piece of software. So, RPG Maker 2. Really, really interesting piece of software. Really kind of hard to make your own game. The engine's a little weird, and I still don't even have everything down on that because I don't play it quite enough to get it all the way. Next game is Star Wars Battlefront 2. I played the heck out of this game. I love this game. And I don't have the first one, but I really want to get it. It's just people want too much for the first one. And I'll get it eventually, though. But Battlefront 2, highly recommend that for shooter fans and Star Wars fans on PS2. Next one, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Probably one of the best RPGs on the PS2 in my personal opinion. I absolutely love this game. Really fun, extremely fun co-op mode. Next game is my favorite PS2 game. Numerous times have I stated this, but Gundam Encounters in Space. Favorite PS2 game of all time. Probably, in my opinion, the best Gundam game. You basically follow the original Gundam series through after they go into space, which is a majority of the series. And you just go through and play basically Amuro's story in space. It also has the Thoroughbred missions, which is a manga that's been adapted into a new story, which is the only place you can find this, and it's really sweet. And then they've got a bunch of like mission modes for individual characters, which is really cool. Next game is one of the most expensive on the PS2, Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. Really, really fun park simulator with Jurassic Park. Absolutely love this game. Spent a bunch of hours playing this. If you can find this game, definitely recommend buying it if you can. Awesome game. Next game, I played this for hours. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Probably the best Lord of the Rings game out of the three. Two Towers would be the second, but this is a great game. I've played this a bunch. It's basically a beat 'em. That's probably more like a action brawler kind of game than an RPG, but it has RPG elements. Next game, worst game that I own on this system, Simpsons Skateboarding, and yes, I did pay that price in the corner there for that back when it was fairly new. Yeah, terrible Tony Hawk ripoff with Simpsons. It's just really bad. Don't get this game. Next game, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. Another Ratchet and Clank game. I played a bunch of this co-op. Really, really fun. Ratchet and Clank games are always good. Next game is one of the very few games that I actually don't have a proper case for, is Half-Life. I've had a hard time finding it, but yeah, definitely recommend checking out Half-Life. This is a pretty good port to the PS2. Next one is actually a box set of 3 different games. Is the Mortal Kombat Collection. It comes with Deception, Shaolin Monks, and Armageddon. Deception and Armageddon are standard 3D Mortal Kombat games. Really, really good. I think Deception is the one that's better. Whichever one you don't create your own character. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Deception is the better one, in my personal opinion. And the Shaolin Monks is like an action, 3D action brawler with Mortal Kombat elements. It's really weird how they did that. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. Set of games there. Next one is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. I love the Tony Hawk games. Extremely fun and, you know, standard Tony Hawk arcade style. Pretty fun. Next game is another one of the really fun games. Twisted Metal Black. I played so much of this. I was a huge Twisted Metal fan back in the day, and really, really fun games. You basically drive around and shoot other cars. It's awesome. This is a really good game. Zone of the Enders. It's basically a mech game. Controls very similar to the Mobile Suit Gundam's Encounter in Space, but really cool story. Basically, this also comes with the demo of Metal Gear Solid 2, but really cool game. Recommend checking that out from people that are a fan of mech games. 3 more games to go. Don't worry. Next game, Simpsons Road Rage. Basically a Crazy Taxi clone with Simpsons characters. Really fun. Next game, Sly 2, Band of Thieves. Looking for Sly 1 still. Haven't beat this, but yeah, Sly Cooper. And last but not least, Soul Reaver 2, the 4th game in the Legacy of Kain series, and the 2nd Soul Reaver game. Absolutely love the Soul Reaver games. I like them more than the Blood Omen ones. And, oh, I guess this is the 3rd one, and then Blood Omen is the 4th one. My bad. Always get those confused, but still. Soul Reaver 2. Love the Soul Reaver games. And that is it. That is my PlayStation 2 collection in its entirety, as you can see there. I'm still getting new PS2 games, and I absolutely am accepting requests for PS2 games if you have any recommendations. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think of my PS2 collection, what games you like, what games you don't like, and just what games you recommend. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched all the way through, all the more thanks, and see you guys next time. Peace.